Hello, my name is XinLin. I'm currently a third-year doctoral student at the University of Texas at Austin. I work with my advisor, Sarah Powell, on this manuscript. My current research mainly focuses on examining predictors of individual difference of mathematics learning. The name of this study is Examining the Relation Between Whole Numbers and Fractions, a meta-analytic structural equation modeling approach. I will start with a study background. Fraction knowledge is one of the most complicated mathematical competence for students to master, and many students experiencing difficulty with fractions. Given that learning fraction is a natural part of students' numerical development, it is unclear why the pathway from whole number to fraction understanding persists as a challenge for many students. A pressing need exists to explore the role of whole number knowledge for fractions understanding. Competing theories exist concerning the role of understanding whole numbers for acquiring fraction knowledge. There are interference theory and reorganization theory. To help clarify the relationship between whole number and fractions, we considered potential confounding factors, including the differentiation of conceptual and procedure knowledge, domain general skills, age, and students' math difficulty status. Taken together, we investigated three research questions in this meta-analysis. First, what is the contribution of different types of whole number knowledge to different types of fraction knowledge? Second, is whole number knowledge a unique predictor of fraction knowledge after including domain general skills into the model? If so, what are the relative roles of different types of whole number knowledge and different types of domain general skills on different fraction knowledge? Third, does the predicting pattern of fraction knowledge change with age and students' difficulty status? In the methods section, I would mainly focus on talking about our methods of analysis because it is relatively new and complicated. Meta-analytic structural equation modeling is a meta-analytic technique which combines the strengths of meta-analysis and structural equation modeling. In our study, we conducted the one-stage meta-analytic structural equation modeling to pull correlation matrices from the reviewed studies and estimate our hypothesized structural equation model using the meta-SEM package in R. We examined the relative roles of whole number and domain general skills on fraction knowledge with two models. In the model one, we regressed the predicting path from procedure and conceptual whole number knowledge to procedure and conceptual fraction knowledge. In model two, we added domain general skills to predict procedure and conceptual fraction knowledge. Those domain general skills include working memory, fluid intelligence, and language. In each model, we also modeled the covariance structure among the predictors and fraction knowledge. For example, we modeled the covariance between working memory and fluid intelligence. Also, we modeled the covariance between procedure fraction knowledge and conceptual fraction knowledge. To explain between study heterogeneity, we further examined the impacts of age and students' math difficulty status on the path from predictors to fraction outcomes. We tested a single moderator at each time because it was difficult to obtain convergence when incorporating more than two moderators simultaneously in the model. We compared the model without a moderator to the model with a moderator using a likelihood ratio test. Because we only identify students' math difficulty status as a significant moderator, we showed the findings for the estimate model 1 and model 2 with math difficulty status as the moderator in the poster. In terms of the results, I would first present the descriptive results. In the present meta-analysis, we included 39 independent samples from 29 studies with a total of 2,100 individual students. Sample size varied from 23 to 536 students. The average age of the students was around 11 years old. 6 studies involved students experiencing mathematics difficulty. The total number of students experiencing mathematics difficulty was around 770. In the present meta-analysis, we determined that conceptual whole number knowledge significantly predicted conceptual and procedural fraction knowledge with the consideration of a set of factors, including domain general skills, students' age, and math difficulty status. Overall, those findings suggest whole number knowledge's impact on fraction knowledge is stable and finite. Conceptual whole number knowledge had a greater impact on fraction knowledge than procedural whole number knowledge. One potential explanation is that whole number magnitude knowledge can easily transfer to fraction magnitude knowledge, which might in turn support fraction procedures. More importantly, students experiencing mathematics difficulty demonstrate a distinct pattern compared to typically achieving students, including 3 key points. Firstly, for students with MD, conceptual whole number knowledge made fewer contributions to conceptual fraction knowledge, whereas procedural whole number knowledge made more contributions to procedural fraction knowledge. Given that students experiencing mathematics difficulty have a relatively weak foundation in whole number understanding, it might be more challenging for them to broaden their whole number understanding to accommodate the meaning of a fraction's magnitude. The last point is, for students with math difficulty, working memory and fluid intelligence made fewer contributions to fraction knowledge. Therefore, difficulty with both conceptual whole number and fraction knowledge might reflect their deficits in the cognitive skills underlying both mathematics competence. Our findings have several implications for theory and practice. First, instead of attributing students' difficulty in fractions to systematic misconceptions, in particular whole number bias, we might consider students' understanding of whole numbers as a source of ideas for performing fraction problems. Once students consciously avoid the tendency to treat numerator and denominator separately in performing tasks with fractions, they may flexibly apply their acquired whole number knowledge in their fraction learning. Second, together with prior studies, conceptual knowledge may have a better transfer effect than procedural knowledge in the transition from whole numbers to fractions. Classroom instruction might focus on the transit from whole number conceptual knowledge to fraction conceptual knowledge to prepare students for future fractions learning. The last point is students experiencing mathematics difficulty show a different pattern of performance when compared to typically achieving students. Educators should understand the profile of students in their classrooms and gauge students' performance regularly in order to provide appropriate fraction instructions. Also related to students experiencing mathematics difficulty, although we listed several potential explanations for the detected distinct characteristics in performing fractions, we encourage future studies to examine those speculations directly. For example, future empirical research might explore whether students' confidence with fractions or whole number knowledge might mediate cognitive effects on fraction performance. To disentangle the underlying mechanism, if students' confidence with fractions mediates students' cognitive skills involved in performing fractions, helping students experiencing mathematics difficulty build confidence might encourage their efforts in learning fractions. If students' deficit in whole number knowledge result in less involvement of cognitive skills in fractions directly, future intervention may also focus on compensating for students' deficit in whole number knowledge before intensive fraction intervention.